Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. We got to talk about the Cardinals because, goddamn, uh, disappointing, tough loss tonight to the Seahawks, 23-20. So much to get into this game. Um, I guess start with kind of the man of the game, man of the hour. Marvin Harrison Jr. just continues. Oh, man, he was driving me crazy going into this game, and for 3 quarters, it looked like he was trying to give this game away. Kyler Murray ends up having 2 interceptions. Both of them are Marvin Harrison Jr.'s fault. The first one, he stops on a route. Kyler throws him, leading him, expecting him to keep going, and it hits a corner right in the chest because he's not going anymore. Then second one has an opportunity to pick up a first, and he starts bobbling the ball and loses and pops it up as he gets hit, and it leads to another pick because he has a horrible case of the drops right now. And so then you have a situation where you have a guy that has the yips, zero confidence, and I don't know why anyone would go to him. And just when I'm like, we need to start shopping him, we need to start looking around and seeing what you can get for him. They need to start making some moves or taking some snaps away from him because it was not looking good. All of a sudden, he shows you why he was a top 5 pick. In the last 10 minutes of that game, he makes some incredible plays. The touchdown was an awesome, incredible catch, jumping over a corner in the back of the end zone, reaching over the top, holding on. Great throw by Kyler Murray. Then on the drive that had tied it up, he had another huge catch downfield that pushed them in the red zone. Finishes with 6 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown. Did have 10 targets. Again, those 2 turnovers, pretty brutal, but he did have some silver lining nice moments. Kyler Murray, I thought, actually played pretty well in this game. Neither of those picks were his fault. He was finding Trey McBride, it felt like, all night long, and just a big game for Trey McBride. But man, the offense just continued to sputter. It looked good for little spurts. Couldn't ever finish off drives. Couldn't ever manufacture points. Kind of continue drives. It felt like you maybe get a first down here or there, but they couldn't sustain drives. And it just left so much to be desired. And it looked up, and all of a sudden you hear the boo birds, and you have all this stuff going on. Like, what is going on? We're getting blown out by 14 in the fourth quarter by the Seahawks. And then they make that run. And there were some just awesome plays in it. The one-handed catch by Michael Wilson was just awesome. But this is the thing with the NFL. You can't settle for field goals. You can't have that many drives where you don't produce. And it's really hard to win games when you're scoring 20 points. This offense continues to just leave points on the board and to not finish off drives. They just continue to leave a lot to be desired. And they did that again in this one, and it cost them. And this is why you want that game against the 49ers, because the Seahawks are a pretty good team. This is a game that the Cardinals should win, feel like they should win, but it's a game you could lose. That's not what the 49ers game was. The 49ers game was all IR players just about, and that was a game that was like, we've got to win this one. Get it in the bag, feel better about yourself. And if you do, you're sitting at 3-1 right now, and you're fine. 2-2 now. This was the easiest opening schedule that anyone in the league has, and went 500 on it. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. The corners, oh my goodness, couldn't locate the ball at all in this game. And, Darnold only ended up finishing with like 250 yards passing, but it felt like there was just a lot of pitch and catch moments where the corners were just turning around, didn't know what was happening, and then that was it. The running game. I think the Seahawks have a pretty stout defense, like especially against the run. But 89 yards. And, that ain't going to cut it. 41 of those came from Kyler Murray. So you're talking about the majority of your rushing yards. Not that great. Not really kind of happening from the guys that you want. And it's your first game without your star running back. Connors is out. Benson had a little pop occasionally, but 8 for 35 ain't a lot. DeMarcado, 2 for 8. That's the only carries. Now, you did only try and run the ball 12 times by people not named Kyler Murray. And he threw the ball 41 times. Again, I get that they're pretty stout on defense, but you're playing into their hands. At some point, you have to try and keep them honest. You had to have a little bit better than that, a little bit of better balance than that. Just a frustrating loss across the board in that they could have easily won this game. They played bad for over 3 quarters and then finally woke up and found a little bit of a rhythm. And then the best guy on that team, the best wide receiver, you give up a couple big plays to. They get a couple first downs, they get down in field goal range, and that's all she wrote. Marvin Harrison Jr., hopefully, if there are silver linings, hopefully that fourth quarter is going to get him out of his funk and he can be the guy that they are hoping that he's going to be. Did get that touchdown. Did have a couple really nice plays, nice catches. Things for the confidence to kind of boost. And he looked a little bit different. Looked a little more sure of himself on his routes. Looked a little more sure of himself trying to catch it, seeing it into his hands rather than getting stuck thinking about everything. You can't think in this game. You have to react. You have to be active. And for a guy that kept making mistakes, especially when you're younger, you tend to try and slow down and you really overthink things and you start worrying about it. And then that's when you start compounding your problems. Tough game. They didn't have to have this one. It would have been nice to have this one. But I go back to you lose that game against the Niners, and here we are. They got to figure out this shouldn't be hard. They got to figure out kickoffs, don't kick it out of bounds, maybe actually keep it inside, play a little defense there. Special teams helps out a little bit in this game, Hopefully Marvin Harris Jr. gets that. They got to figure out the running game. I really thought that Trey Benson would be a guy you can lean on that was ready for more, and maybe this was just one game, but the running game was awful in this. And you can't dig yourself that big of a hole. So now they find themselves at 2-2. And they had the easiest start of a schedule or start of a season to a schedule like in the entire league. Stuff. Now Tennessee's up next. That feels a little bit like a gotta win. They're not good. We thought the Colts were going to be terrible this year. That's the game after that. Colts are undefeated. They look pretty solid right now. So you made things a lot harder on yourself with the way that tonight ended up playing out. Disappointing, but a few bright spots, I guess, things that you feel like you can feel better about going to next week. Michael Wilson played well. There were several catches by, Harrison down the stretch. Got to figure out the running game. I know the corners are banged up right now. You got to play better than that in this league. So tough, disappointing night.